going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. I said I wasn't going to do another video on these unless I got a real pair in hand. And thanks to one of you guys out there, one of the dope subscribers to this channel, you entrusted me with a pair of these sneakers that we're going to unbox for the first time on this channel. We're actually going to open these up directly from the Nike box. And then we're going to get into them, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. As you can see, this box has not been opened, and I don't own any Nike tape. So we're literally going to cut this Nike tape right now on camera so you can see that it came directly from Nike. I'm honestly not going to go super deep into the sneaker just because you guys have seen this sneaker so many times it's ridiculous. So we're going to do a super quick overview of the sneaker. You guys already know what the box looks like. You guys already know what the lid looks like. You guys already know that the paper looks a little bit yellowed, like a little bit of a sale color here to represent old paper. The sneaker is meant to look old. You guys have already seen the ticket, I'm sure, up to this point, and you guys know the story already. For the record, this box came directly from Sneakers, and there is a price tag on it, and the price tag says $190. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Air Jordan 1 Freeze Out, aka Trophy Room. Well, here they are. Here they finally are. Now, again, you guys have seen this sneaker a thousand times. So let's just run through the sneaker just in case you guys may have been waiting for me to talk about it. I'm sure you didn't, but we'll get through the shoe and then we'll get through a little bit deeper understanding of what's going on, not just with the shoe, but of course with Marcus Jordan and with Trophy Room. All right, guys, starting with the upper here, basically you're looking at a Chicago 1 that looks like it's been frozen in time. I know I said you guys know the story, but just for the sake of edification on the channel, let's run through the story really quickly. Michael Jordan was drafted in 1984, went to his first All-Star game in 1985. When he went to his first All-Star game in 1985, he had just scored his Nike deal, and in his words, as a means to try to make Nike look good and kind of push the new basketball thing that Nike was trying to do, he decided to wear his Nike sweatsuit on the court for practice and warm-ups during the All-Star game before the slam dunk contest, which people didn't like. He also wore a brand new pair of sneakers that were banned at the time that people also didn't like, and he came across as very cocky, not to mention he had 3 gold chains on, which people also didn't like. And by people, I mean not just people on the outside of the basketball court, but people that he shared the basketball court with as well. People like Julius Erving or Dr. J, Moses Malone, Larry Bird, and Isaiah Thomas, who were the other starters on the 1985 Eastern Conference All-Star team. Well, as legend has it, because these guys didn't like Michael Jordan, they thought he was a little arrogant, they thought he was a little flashy, they decided not to pass him the ball during the game or to freeze him out. Now, as a result, 2 things happened. Number 1, Michael Jordan just ended up running around the court trying to get the ball as much as he possibly could. He only took a few shots, only got, I think, about 9 points, really didn't do anything spectacular during that game. But in typical Michael Jordan fashion, he took that personally. And his very next game was known as the Freeze Out Revenge game, which was against Isaiah Thomas's Detroit Pistons. And he won that game 139-126 in overtime, hitting 49 points against the Pistons. So naturally, this sneaker is made to look like it's a frozen Chicago Air Jordan 1. Let's dig a little deeper. So as I mentioned, basically this is a Chicago 1 that looks like it's been dipped in ice and frozen in time over the years. Marcus Jordan spoke to the fact that all along the red liner here, there's an overlay that makes the shoe look crystallized. It looks a little bit glittery, and that's to mimic, of course, the freeze effect. Now, honestly, I probably would have written a lot more with the glitter effect that happens when you leave a pair of Air Jordan 1s sitting for a really long time. Because if you guys notice, if you've had a pair of Air Jordan 1s you've kept on ice for a long time, it tends to have this weird glitter thing that happens to the upper. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not, but I really would have rocked with that a lot more because that's what this is more indicative of than it being frozen or ice, but whatever. The leather on the shoe, it's decent. It's nothing really spectacular, especially for the prices that I think the shoe is going for these days, but it's a decent leather. You get a regular black swoosh against that white quarter panel, very reminiscent of the Chicago Jordan 1. Taking a top down look at the shoe here, it looks just like a Chicago 1. You get black laces to start out with, white toe box, a white nylon tongue with the red Nike Air tag. 2 small details here on the tongue though. On the back of the right tongue, you get February 10th, 1985. That is the day that the All-Star game was played. On the back of the left shoe here, you're gonna get the tag that gives you the numbering out of the 12,000 pairs that were produced of this sneaker. This sneaker in particular is number 11,581 out of 12. Freeze outs also came with an extra set of red laces and an extra set of white laces. Now, first things first, if you guys didn't know, now you know the blue laces were not an indicator of the sneaker's authenticity. This sneaker was purchased via exclusive access from the Sneakers app, and this sneaker came exactly as you see it, no blue laces, which I would have thought that a lot more people would have understood that because those blue laces literally were wrapped in a rubber band looking like a dope boy's money knot, but nobody really understood that, I guess. So clearly it was just an afterthought that was delivered straight down to Florida. But as far as the pairs that were manufactured and given to Nike and were sitting in Memphis, the pairs that weren't stolen for that matter, those only came with the standard lace set, and the standard lace set was black, red, and white, which makes sense because it's a Chicago Air Jordan 1. Getting back to the shoe here, of course, one really nice detail that I always liked about this sneaker was Michael Jordan's signature on the lateral heel of the shoe. I really like this touch. It just felt more like a collector's item at that point, having Michael Jordan's signature on there. And because most of us will never be able to afford something that really has a signature on it, this is probably the best that we're going to be able to get. By the way, the leather around the collar is nice. It's a soft black leather, nothing super spectacular, but it is definitely softer than the leather that's on the quarter panels of the shoe. Inside of the collar on the shoe here, you can probably see stitched in white, it says rumor has it. Of course, that's the big thing about the freeze out story, is that it's never really been confirmed and it's more of a basketball urban legend, but people who know pretty much know, but at the end of the day, it's just a rumor. Dominique Wilkins has even been put on record saying that he thought that there was probably some truth to the story, seeing that those guys were bigger, they had been in the league a lot longer than Mike, they were a lot older than Mike, and especially back in those days, those guys kind of looked at themselves like gatekeepers of the NBA, so they felt like the young guys needed to pay homage and needed to be a lot more humble than Michael Jordan was. He came out really braggadocious, he came out really exploding, he was already turning the Chicago Bulls around, and so people didn't like that. So my personal opinion, do I think that they froze him out? Yeah, I definitely think that they froze him out. On the insole of the shoe here, you got a red insole with that Air Jordan and Trophy Room co-branded heel tab here. So it's stitched in here, so it's a really big heel patch on this insole. It's really nice. And on the outsole of the shoe, you have the stars that are reminiscent of Chicago's stars on the flag and on the uniforms from the All-Star game that year. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Trophy Room Air Jordan 1 freeze out. Look, guys, this is a good shoe. At the end of the day, this is still a good shoe. There's nothing wrong with the shoe itself. I personally think that the shoe tells a fantastic story. And you guys know I love stories, I love histories, and I love digging into what the motivation and the history is behind these sneakers. This sneaker did a phenomenal job of telling a really cool story that you really don't hear about too often, but was just famous enough that enough people would identify with it or want to go and do their Googles to really appreciate the shoe. Well done, Marcus Jordan and Trophy Room. Now that I've said that, wow, Marcus Jordan and Trophy Room, I can't believe how bad you messed this one up. This release will probably go down in history as one of the worst sneaker releases ever. I mean, this sneaker had a terrible, terrible release. But today what I want to talk the most about is not to bash people here. I'm not trying to bash anybody or anything like that, but I really just want to get to the root of what happened. And I really want to give you guys some game today about what to expect out here in the sneaker world when it comes to reselling and backdooring and everything like that. It's a real thing. It happens. And clearly we just saw it happen in a really crazy way with this sneaker. So let's break down exactly what happened with this shoe, because I'm really getting sick and tired of listening to everybody's YouTube lives for 2.5 hours talking about all these conspiracy theories from people that have no idea what really happened. So let's break down what really happened. First things first, this sneaker really got popping because there was an Instagram reseller that goes by the name of the South Memphian that actually came out with the first photos with the full packaging of the Trophy Room Air Jordan 1s. And rumor has it, well, it's not really a rumor, let's just call it what it is, the pair was stolen out of the Nike warehouse in Memphis. So that's really where a lot of this commotion came about. People got really hyped up about it because, come to find out, Marcus Jordan didn't even realize that the sneakers had made it into the country yet. Okay, we got it now. So if you're Marcus Jordan, what are you doing now that you realize that sneakers are in the country and they're probably gonna start being sold? You gotta pivot. And I think that's exactly what Marcus did. Now, at the same time, while Marcus is pivoting, you guys gotta remember that Marcus Jordan's beginnings in the sneaker game came from a lot of people that were inundated in the resale game. You guys remember Soul Addiction? If you guys aren't familiar with what that is, that was a sneaker boutique in Illinois that was owned by the gentleman that I'm about to talk about a little bit later in in this video. However, Marcus Jordan's Player Edition Air Jordans, his 9s with the 5 on the back, the 10s that look like the charcoal, but there was a lot of yellow mixed in there for his school colors. Those were owned by the owners at Soul Addiction, a resale boutique. And these are the people that Marcus Jordan ended up bringing into the fold of Trophy Room. So let's just start there. We're talking about a guy that used to go to class in a Ferrari, for goodness sake. I mean, come on. So it should be of no surprise that these sneakers are getting backdoored. I see people acting like this is the first sneaker that Trophy Room has ever backdoored. It's not. This is just a sneaker I think that made people upset because they felt like there was no fair chance of getting the shoe. And that's understandable. So let's dig into that a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember the Trophy Room 5s because they weren't that long ago, but the Trophy Room 5s dropped. And when they dropped, people flocked down to Orlando. They camped out. They did whatever they had to do to get their hands on as many pairs of that shoe as humanly possible. Now listen, everything that I'm going to tell you guys today is Googleable and you can look it up. I'm not giving you guys any conspiracy theories. Marcus Jordan himself went on Full Size Run and they asked him specifically about resellers and people that are backdooring sneakers. And to his point, what Marcus literally said on the show, and I'm paraphrasing here, Marcus literally said, hey, if those guys are willing to go to Orlando, camp out, do whatever they got to do to get their hands on a sneaker, so be it. So that literally told all of those resellers out there, Marcus is cool with backdooring sneakers. He's cool with me getting as many sneakers as I can possibly get my hands on. Now, Marcus may double back a bit and say, hey, I never said I was cool with reselling. I just said that I was cool with you doing whatever you had to do. Whatever the case is, these things happen. We know that backdooring has been going on ever since the first Trophy Room collaboration, which was the Air Jordan 23s. If you guys remember that first collaboration, they had the white and gold version and the black version. Those were getting backdoored. So I don't know why this is new to anybody. But like I said, the problem here was that only 12,000 pairs of this sneaker were made. So this is how this thing went down. Was this raffle rigged? Yeah. Absolutely, this raffle was rigged. I'm gonna say it here, I'm gonna say it right now, and this is how the raffle was rigged. This is what went down. As I mentioned, there are a lot of people that were around Marcus, and Marcus has pretty much kept the same people around him since he started Trophy Room. There haven't been too many people that have come in and out of his inner circle, especially people that have had access to friends and family product, because you guys gotta remember, there's always been a little friends and family aspect to a lot of the sneakers that have come out. You guys remember, there were only 223 pairs of the red friends and family version of the Trophy Room 5. Now, there was a gentleman named AJ, and the reason why I'm mentioning AJ is because everybody else that all of you guys are mad at have mentioned and shouted out AJ, and people want to know who in the world is AJ and why did he hook so many people up with this sneaker? What happened? Let me break it down. All right, if you guys don't know who AJ is, you guys haven't been to a sneaker con, or you guys aren't really familiar with Kicks, the brand, the company, the big Instagram page that has like 1.2 million followers on it, but AJ is one of those people from the Kicks family that got hooked up with Marcus Jordan through his brother. His brother is actually really close with Marcus Jordan. As a matter of fact, the day that I'm filming this, Marcus Jordan is on Instagram playing golf at the Grove 23 golf course that his father built, along with AJ's brother and Barack Obama and Ray Allen and other celebrities. This guy is Marcus's right-hand man. So since AJ's brother is Marcus's right-hand man, and AJ already had a ton of connections anyway, working sneaker cons, working through Kicks, and really becoming a brand in and of himself, naturally the people that he was the most cool with, that he felt would really do right by the sneaker, not try to resell the shoe particularly, and would really appreciate it, that they have done things for him, he hooked those people up. Now, the way that they hooked them up, it's the thing of legend. I know kind of the behind the scenes, but you know, the game is to be sold, not told. But this is what I'm gonna say. Raffles were hand-picked. Raffle entries were hand-picked, right? The people that shouted out AJ, it makes no sense that people would say, hey, I randomly hit on the Trophy Room raffle. Oh, by the way, shout out to AJ. It doesn't work like that. Those two statements clash with one another. Are you shouting out AJ for hooking you up? Or did you randomly hit the raffle on Trophy Room? But because people are kind of sloppy with keeping their secrets, some people on their Instagrams and their YouTubes would say both, but that's not really what happened. AJ had his people that he wanted to look out for because those people have looked out for him or are doing good things in the community, or he has a really good relationship with them. So yes, those people were hand selected, those people were sent invoices, and those people were able to pay their invoices for retail price and get their freeze game. Yeah, technically they were a part of the raffle, but they were hand-picked out of the raffle. And guys, listen, I don't blame them for that, because that's what happens out here. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the trophy rooms and the way that the raffle went down, but I see a lot of you guys doing the exact same thing at Foot Locker, Foot Action, Champs, different boutiques. Everybody backdoor sneakers. Everybody rigs raffles. But the problem with the entitlement for a lot of sneakerheads these days is that people feel like they're only entitled, but they get upset when they see other people that are entitled to other sneakers get hooked up in a way that they don't get hooked up. Now, let's go to the reseller portion. Yes, reselling got out of control. I tell people a lot of times that the sneaker game is a lot like the dope game. And what I mean by that is you have your kingpins. You have people that really control a lot of the product. Then underneath that, you have your workers, the guys that are kind of out on the corner, right? Now, the guys that are on the corner tend to be the more flashy ones. If you see a dope boy and he's got big rims on his car and a crazy paint job, chances are he's not making as much money as the person that's a level above him. So what you ended up seeing happen was that there's a lot of cook groups, a lot of discords. Remember, we talked about discords and cook groups in the sneakers video. There's a lot of cook groups that pooled their money together, and then the owner of that cook group had connections with somebody at Trophy Room. I'm not saying it was AJ. I don't think it was AJ. It might have been somebody else over at Trophy Room, but they had connections, and Trophy Room started backdooring tons and tons and tons and tons of sneakers. So now sneakers are being stolen out of Memphis, and sneakers are being backdoored out of Orlando, and it's getting out of control. Now, it's getting out of control, but a whole lot of money's getting made. And when I say a whole lot of money, I'm talking millions of dollars are getting made through the back door. Now, that's money that's off the books. And the way that I know that it's off the books is because thanks to a tweet that Over Under put out there that kind of got a lot of traction. Yes, I did find out that Marcus Jordan actually applied for a $112,000 PPP loan. And I have my thoughts about that. I don't think that he probably should have done that, especially when he's rolling around in a brand new Lamborghini truck on Instagram right now. But I guess technically on the books, he did have 20 jobs at Trophy Room, and I guess his business was technically entitled to PPP loan money. But I've seen too many other small business owners that are really struggling that could really use $112,000. See it go into the hands of somebody like Marcus. It did kind of hit me the wrong way, but the game is the game. And that's what I want to tell you guys today. The game is the game. Welcome to the sneaker game. This is how it works. When it comes to hyped up product, the reason why everybody keeps losing out all the time, yes, it's because of resellers. It's because of botters. It's because of all of these things that we saw, but they were just blown up in a really ridiculous way with this release because nobody closed the back door. That was the problem here. This wasn't supposed to get out of control. But to my point about the lower level dope boys that want to be flashy all the time, that's what ended up happening. Once the Cook Group owners got these sneakers distributed out to all the people that put their money in on it, that's when you saw the people that were all over Instagram and all over Twitter and had stacks of boxes up and were flexing all these pairs of sneakers. Yeah, a lot of those sneakers, probably about 85 to 90% of the sneakers that you've seen guys flexing with, they're 100% legit. Sure, there's fakes out there, and there's going to be more fakes that flood the market. But when all of this was going on, that's what you saw going on. And it's natural, it happens. But the problem is that these days, the resellers are not quiet. They're not making the quiet money anymore. They want to be loud. People want to be more famous than they want to be rich. And because of that, that's why we're seeing what's happening right now with the reselling of the shoe. Somebody left the back door open and way too many pairs got out there. This raffle was supposed to be a lot more fair than it was. And Marcus Jordan tried his best to do damage control, but at the same time, all of his guys were eating. All of his guys were making a lot of money. I don't know if Marcus himself made any money. I'm not going to speculate if Marcus himself made any money, but if nobody else made money, his boys made a ton of money. Now, yeah, the raffle was pretty much a joke. I honestly didn't see anybody pretty much that won the raffle fairly. And I use that word loosely, but I really didn't see anybody that was like, hey, I don't have any ties to Trophy Room. I don't have any ties to AJ. I don't have any ties to Marcus. I literally just put a raffle entry in and I won the shoe. I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't see anybody that was like that. Now, you guys can sound off down in the comments and let me know if you guys saw anybody randomly like that or if you were somebody random like that. But even the apparel, nobody even got anything from. I still want the hoodie. Somebody sell me a hoodie in a medium because I asked AJ to help me out with a hoodie and nothing happened. So I'm not plugged in like that, just so you guys know. So here we are now. Unfortunately, because of this sneaker and because of how everything went down with it, people have gone from really being excited about the shoe to caring less and less about the shoe to actually being upset about the sneaker and the ridiculously high prices that these sneakers are being sold for on the market. Now people want $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for this sneaker, and it's ridiculous. And I'm gonna tell you guys, the prices will go down. The prices on this sneaker will go down. And the reason why I say that is because too many people got their hands on this sneaker at a very high price. And the reason why you're not seeing these sneakers going down in price right now is because a lot of these people paid a lot of money to get their hands on it, $1,500 to $2,000 just to get their hands on the sneaker, and they're trying to sell it for even more money than that so that they can make some money off the back end. But I'm gonna tell you, once Quavo gets his pairs and Offset and Bobby Shmurda and everybody else that's got $5,000 to spend on a sneaker like this, what's gonna end up happening with the rest of those thousands of pairs of sneakers that are sitting in people's inventory? If they don't have the money to hold on to it, they're gonna have to liquidate them. And when the time comes to liquidate them, that's when you guys are gonna be able to go in there and get your sneaker, because at the end of the day, what do I always say? Sneakers are a buyer's market. So please don't get discouraged when it comes to these. If you guys wanna get your hands on a pair, I still wanna get my hands on a pair personally. The sneaker is still a good shoe. And I feel like when the smoke clears, we're gonna appreciate the sneaker a lot more. But for right now, it is what it is. This was just a bad raffle. It looked bad on Marcus's part because he's the face of the brand. But I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think that Marcus was the one that was backdooring and selling all these sneakers. Marcus doesn't have time for that. But what I will say is that I'm interested to see what the future of Trophy Room looks like, because I believe that the way that the business was set up in a way to actually mitigate the risk of something happening to Trophy Room. And this is what I mean. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, because I saw a lot of people trying to look up Trophy Room's information, but I did a little bit of digging and I found out that Trophy Room isn't even an LLC. The way that the company was set up wasn't even set up as its own LLC, but the store was actually set up as a DBA. Now, if you guys don't know what a DBA is, that means doing business as. Marcus Jordan actually owns a higher level LLC that I won't give the name out of today, because unfortunately, when I did go looking and I did find that LLC, there was a lot of personally identifiable information that I really don't want to get out like that. Obviously, I'm not going to do anything with it, but you can find addresses and things of that nature with that information. So I'm not going to give that out. But Trophy Room is a DBA. It's a doing business as. So what that means is that if Trophy Room were to go away tomorrow, if Jordan Brand decides to pull their contract from Trophy Room because of what happened with these sneakers as a retailer, Marcus Jordan could theoretically shut down that business, that DBA, still own his higher level LLC, and just branch off a new DBA and have Trophy Room 2 or Locker Room or whatever else he wants to open up and have a brand new business, a brand new shoe store. And yeah, there's certain perks of that because he's Michael Jordan's son. He can get around certain rules that other retailers would have to abide by. Plus, he's underneath James Whitner's arm. And if anybody knows James Whitner is like pressed gold when it comes to Jordan Brand. He pretty much can do no wrong as long as he stays within the confines with all of his different stores that he's supposed to. By the way, James Whitner is also out there golfing with Barack Obama and Marcus Jordan as well. So that's family. But I say all that to say that Marcus Jordan has already set his business up to sustain the types of hatred and the type of tweeting and the type of attention that is being sustained right now. I think that he tried to call an audible and do a little bit of a pivot with the blue laces. So he called in the blue laces to be made really fast, threw those in the boxes and gave those out to people. But unfortunately, those blue laces pretty much went to friends and family only. There were not 12,000 pairs of blue laces that were made. There were probably, in my estimate, probably about 2,000 pairs of blue laces that got made. They got thrown into a certain amount of boxes, and the rest of them, they were gone. They were out of here. So a lot of those reseller pairs, no, they didn't come with blue laces, even though they did come from Orlando, because I believe the blue laces were supposed to only be for family and friends. And maybe the blue laces were still only for family and friends, just not friends and family of Marcus, but friends and family of AJ and friends and family of other people at Trophy Room that had their people that they wanted to hook up. And if you weren't one of those people that got hooked up, then pretty much the rest of the pairs got given to the reseller. So if you weren't a big reseller with $50,000 to spend, and if you weren't one of the chosen ones that got the invoice sent over to you and got the blue lace pair, you were out of luck on this one. And I'm one of those people that was out of luck too. We're in this thing together. I say all that to say this. It's a good shoe. It's got a good story behind it. Honestly, I would probably rather have a pair of regular Chicago Air Jordan 1s if I'm gonna throw $2,500 plus down on a sneaker That's just me. I think this is a good shoe. I do not think by any stretch of the imagination that this sneaker is worth $3,000, $4,000, $7,000. You're literally just paying for the hype and the bragging rights at this point to have this sneaker. And if you guys got that kind of bread to spend on bragging rights, have at it. But as for me and my house, we ain't got it like that. So until this sneaker comes down in price, or until I just get my hands on a pair of regular Chicago Air Jordan 1s, these sneakers will not belong to me, but will only belong to the lucky subscriber that got exclusive access on the Sneakers app and was kind enough to let me review his pair. So thank you again for these. Guys, I hope that I cleared up a little bit of information for you today. I wanted to bust a few myths because I feel like the anger really came from a lot of people not really knowing what exactly went down with this sneaker. And I wanted to make it crystal clear what happened with this shoe. The raffle was rigged, the back door got left wide open, and unfortunately way too many pairs slipped through the cracks. And by the time Marcus Jordan tried to run damage control, a lot of the damage was already done. And we move on to the next shoe. That's the thing about the sneaker game. There's always another shoe. So this sneaker will fade, people will talk about it less and less, and we will continue to move on with life because there's plenty of other sneakers that are already coming out that are generating a ton of buzz right now. All right, guys, that's pretty much all that I got to say about these. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about the Air Jordan 1 Trophy Room Freeze Out. Are these ones that you guys are trying to get in your collection? Are you just going to pay whatever you got to pay to get them into your collection? Or are you guys going to hold out on these? Or are you just over the sneaker completely? Are you done with it? Do you never want to see the shoe again? Sound off down below. Let me know. Of course, right down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Phetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. I also thought that it was pretty important. I haven't left you guys with an address that you can send me anything to yet, because people do ask if they can send me things, but I just never thought that I was that dope of a person that people would want to send me things to. But because these got sent to me, I understand that there might be other sneakers that we want to review, or other sneakers that you guys may be willing to help me out with to do a review on if I can't get my hands on them. So I left my mailing address down in the description box below. So if you would like to send anything over, or if you'd like to help me out with being able to review a sneaker, I appreciate you for that. I'll shout you out if you would like to be shouted out. The person that actually hooked me up with these opted not to be shouted out, and I respect that. But I appreciate you guys. We're family here, so we're here to help each other out. If I can help you, I got you. If you guys can help me, I appreciate the love too. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Phetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Air Jordan 1 and Trophy Room Freeze Out. And until next time, I'm out.